我哋係咪錄影
Okay.
緊啊
Yeah.
？Thank you.
錄影緊，係。
Excellent.
Thank you. All right. So I guess we'll get started, shall we?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, hello everyone. Um, welcome. Welcome every single one of you. My name is Yvonne and I'm from Montreal, Canada. I'm here today with two other presenters, Shebia and Josephine, and we're so
Hello.
excited for this session as we'll be talking about a simple self-coaching tool that we love so much. It's called the 3A method, and it's a tool that helps us manage our emotions more effectively. So before we get started officially, I guess we could give everyone here a brief introduction of the event today, as well as the speakers, like who we are, right? So for those of you who don't know, this event is part of the World Self-Coach Day. It's an event hosted by the Hong Kong nonprofit organization called dreamspossible, or we normally call it by DP. And this is part of the celebration of their 19th anniversary today. Yay! So I am one of their volunteers, and I actually started as a student in their very first online course in mindful self-coaching a couple of years ago. It was eye-opening for me. I learned so much, and I felt so much more empowered. So I was so happy today because I just get excited talking about self-coaching with different people. And although I've done my courses in Cantonese, of course, I'm hoping to reach more people through a session like this in English. Especially, I work as a wedding officiant, so I meet many couples who may become parents one day. And I believe self-coaching can make a big difference in their lives, which is why I'm so excited to introduce these tools in English today. So I'll hand it over to Shebia, another wonderful volunteer, also from Canada, to introduce herself. Shebia, go ahead.
Thank you, Yvonne. Hello, big hello to everybody. We see so many familiar faces, names, and I'm so excited. Hello, my name is Shebia, and I'm also a volunteer overseas for DP, Dreams Possible. I have lived in Vancouver, Canada for about 40 years now, but my heart still holds a special place for my hometown, Hong Kong. In 2022, I joined DP's, like Yvonne, first online program, MCS, and it stands for Mindful Coaching Step by Step. Honestly, it was the best personal development program I ever had, and it was a game changer for me. We learned so many self-coaching tools like inner child, iceberg, and healthy boundaries, etc. And they were all very incredibly useful. But my absolute favorite is the emotional transformation tool called 3A, which is what we want to share with you all today. As some of you might know, I am a naturally rather emotional person, and I often find myself getting quite consumed by all my own emotions or feelings. And 3A has helped me a lot. It's simple yet powerful, and with principles that can be used anywhere. It's so universal. And interestingly, as I got a little better at being my own friend, like being my own coach, I noticed many of my important relationships also started to change for the better. So I'm so excited to introduce this tool in my English-speaking friends and in hopes of supporting others in their emotional well-being and helping them also to create more genuine connections. So over to you, Josephine.
Thank you. I feel so honored to be joined two of them to have things introduce myself now. Hello, everyone. I'm Josephine. Like Shebia and Yvonne, I am also an MCS overseas student. I live in the other side of the world. I'm in London, UK. So a lot of my friends are an English speaker. That is why I find it very important we got chance to be having the delivery this talk in English, because to me 3A is such a useful tool that giving me a lot of transformations, especially with this gift. I really love to share it to everyone that I can be, because every time I talk about them, I find it so exciting. And even though people will find, where you learn that from? And then that's why I find it really, really good. Especially I have his son. He's going to be 21 next month.
Mm.
And for him, we sharing the tools together and then going through all the trouble time together. He become a very really confident person, can able to express himself, all to do with all these tools that I've been learning through whole DP and the MCS. So hopefully I will share with my journey to you guys later on. Thank you.
Well, I think I need to give a shout out to Josephine, because right now in London it's 3 a.m. So thank you so much for joining us in the middle of the night. So now you all get a basic idea of who we are. And what about you guys? We would love to find out where you are, and if you speak English as your first language, is that why you're here in this session? So maybe share in the chat room your current city and perhaps the languages you speak. It would be fun for us to get an idea who came in today. So let's see, who's our audience? Where are you from? Oh, Peggy from Washington.
Vancouver
Hello,
Ooh,
North
Washington,
America.
Wow.
Wow, Australia, Hong Kong.
Sydney, Chicago.
Wow.
Toronto, yay.
Toronto, the East Coast of Canada.
Shen friend, Tommy.
And my friend from Bali. Yay, hi.
Wow.
Oh, I'm Montreal fellow, yes.
Macau, yay. Sydney, Malaysia.
Nice,
Wonderful.
nice. Well, keep these responses coming, and thank you so much, everyone. We would like to keep the chat room active, so feel free to share your thoughts, or your ideas, response in the chat box. As we have limited time today, we want to make the most of it by giving you a solid introduction of this 3A method. So here's what we're going to be doing. We'll first explain what the 3A method is, and then you'll hear some of our stories about using this tool in real life. And then we'll wrap up with a summary of the key points and end the session with a simple grounding breathing exercise to help you settle and integrate what you learned. So before we get into the 3A tool, let's have a quick check-in. When we talk about emotions, I think we can all agree that emotions can impact everything from our relationships, our work, to our health, our overall well-being. So in the chat box, I would like you to type one word for an emotion that you find yourself feeling most often. Pick an emotion that you experience all the time. What would that be? Let's take a look. Anger. I definitely can relate to anger. Fear, worry, sad, fear. Peace. Oh, nice. Fear. Yep. Sad, peace. Yes. Worries. That appears a lot.
I like the person who said my wife is forcing me to listen, so frustrated. I hope you would, we could support you somehow to deal with your frustration.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's interesting to think about this emotion that we often experience. And if these emotions come up, how do you usually cope with your emotions? There's some usual ways that people cope with their emotions. For example, are you a peacekeeper? Meaning, you tend to swallow your feelings to keep the calm. Josephine, can you go to the next slide, please?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying. Yeah, you continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So So we would like you to identify your usual coping styles. So are you a peacekeeper, swallow your feelings to keep the calm, or are you a defender that you tend to externalize the blame and you see yourself as the victim? Or are you the escapist, meaning you often tend to like disengage yourself and distract yourself to avoid the issue? Or you're a self-critic that you turn the blame toward yourself. Probably you would say a lot, oh, I should have done that better. Oh, it's my fault. Like, what is your usually coping strategy? Peacekeeper, defender, escapist, or self-critic? Which of these styles sounds more familiar to you? So let's take a look again.
I think
Type your
I think
type your
I
number
can
in
be
chat
all of
box.
the above.
Yes, we may actually have different style when we're dealing with different people.
Mhm.
So sometimes we will try to like contain our feelings a lot, but other times we may try to blame the other person. So it could be very much all of them. It's true. It's true. So if this is the first time you're thinking about this coping strategies and all this subjects, you may not be able to identify right away, but that's okay. And I think if we're able to get more awareness of our default reaction, that could be a first step to making meaningful change. So today, we'll try to build on that awareness by introducing a practical tool called the 3A method to help us choose more constructive responses. And while the 3A method itself is pretty straightforward, at DP, we do offer courses for people to master the skills. So we don't expect you to become an expert in this single session. Instead, our goal is to inspire you, to give you a helpful starting point to explore effective coping strategies for yourself. So if you leave today's session feeling curious to learn more, I think that's a wonderful outcome. So shall we begin, Shebia? Perhaps you could start
Sure.
explaining what the 3A method is.
Yeah, thank you, Yvonne. Well, of course, 3A is created and designed by Dr. Zhou San, the founder of dreamspossible, 自在社. The 3A method is a powerful yet easy to use tool for emotional transformation. It's built on core principles from psychology, counseling, and coaching, and offers profound life wisdom. The 3 A's stand for acknowledge, act to choose, and appreciate. But before we get to these steps, there is actually an important preparation stage we call step 0. So let's break down each step. Let's say the first step 0, which is coming back to ourselves. It's grounding. It's all about us, right? So it's a very important mindset. We often hear the only person we can truly change is me. And it's true, since it's hard to control others or the environment. The most powerful place to start is within. The best way to begin is by taking a moment to come back to our breathing. What I usually do is find myself a quiet place, put my hands or both hands gently over my heart, and just breathe slowly. This simple gesture actually signals to ourselves that I respect myself and I want to connect with my inner strength. That pause you create, that space between a feeling or emotion and a response that allows us to become calm. And this small but mighty step helps us to recenter and helps us to move forward with intention. So, Josephine, over to you for the first A.
Thank you, Shebia. Okay, let's the time talk about the first A, which is acknowledge. Acknowledge our emotions. Now, thinking about emotion is the internal signal or reminder. They are here to tell us something instead of annoying them. We can simply acknowledge them, name them without any judgment. Notice, we can always think, I'm really stressed. This is very frustrated. And it's quite relief when we can name them. Then we can tell ourselves, this emotion is just only part of me. It's not who we are. We can also gradually detect them and then distance them away. This shift often with some space, and that allows you to manage the feeling rather than being overwhelmed. Okay, over to you, Shebia.
Thank you, Josephine. Now the second A, act. We can choose our action. Remember, no matter what happened, we always have a choice. And this is the core of a responsible mindset. And better yet, instead of one choice, try to identify at least 3 options for ourselves on what we can do instead of trying to control the outside world. We can tap into our inner creativity and resources to find solutions. And the more we practice, and the more we will trust our ability to overcome any of our challenges. Joe, over to you for the third A.
Yeah, the third one, appreciate. Appreciate is the opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to facing any challenge bring to us. Even though in the difficult moments, we can always find value. Start from appreciate your own willingness to improve and navigate the situation. When we are viewing the challenge as the chance to learn, your shift is your mindset, the build resilience and allows you to move forward with the positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. So now we get a basic idea of what the 3A model involves, right? Act, acknowledge, act, and appreciate. It sounds pretty straightforward, but you may be wondering what it actually looks like in real life. How does that help me? You know, I'm in a difficult situation. What do these 3A's help me? So in the next 10-15 minutes, you're going to hear from Josephine, Shebia, and myself about our personal testimonials, how 3A has actually helped us turn the situation around. So our story will show you just how practical and effective this tool can be. So let us begin with Josephine.
Thank you. Okay, now let me start. Before I learn 3A methods, I usually carry a lot of heavy self-blame without even realize. After 2 miscarriages, and I finally give birth to my son on just a 29-weeker. He's so tiny. He's only 3.3 pounds. From that moment onward, my anxiety is keep piling up. Living in the Western world as a Chinese mom, this is giving me an extra pressure. Jamie is always the smallest in his class, and worry is constant. The deep inside, that is the voice say, I must have done something wrong. I'm not a good mom. This voice is always makes a relationship very tense. We love each other so much, but with that fear and the guilt, and keep getting in the way. Luckily, I do come across that 3A methods, and slowly it changed my whole mindset. And I realized I can really go without all these worries. So first, I acknowledge that blaming voice isn't me. It's only part of me. And I shouldn't be let them define who I am. And during the whole period, I also have to learn to trust Jamie. He have his own growth timing. And I shouldn't be compare him with any other people. And finally, appreciate this opportunity give us to learn together. Even though nowadays we can all talk about and sharing our point of view without any judgment. And I deeply appreciate these value lessons for us. And this isn't just a theory. Even though now we have any heated conversation with Jamie or with any other people, I will choose to find a really quiet place and put my hands on my heart and have a quiet moment. And I notice when I quiet, and this pause can literally help me to move away my worries, my emotional, and any fear. And I can literally thinking about take them away as far as I can, and whatever the position I prefer. And also, it literally helped me to not judge myself. And anything people talk to me is only their expressions. And from that moment onwards, I can refocus. I can really listen to myself, listen to my heart. This is very important step. And then for me, is this kind of methods, it always make me do what I can and start listening. And after all that, today, even though if I have any crash emotions and all that, these methods always carry with me all the time. And hopefully I can have this kind of message delivery like to my son, and he can really growing together, empowering himself with all the knowledge we have to live in the Western world. He can still have the Chinese inheritance or any culture learning, and also with any open mind, freedom of speech. So I'm really thankful for all these 3A2s I've been learning. And that is how I become who we are. And we have a great, great relationship together. And he grew up a very confident voice. So thank you. That's my story.
That is so wonderful, Josephine. These sure are wonderful shifts. I noticed that you shift from self-blame to self-acceptance. So glad to hear that you now have the habit of taking a moment and place your hand on the heart, and even during heated conversations. This help us come back to yourself, right? And that realize that he's only expressing his needs and not trying to hurt you. So I'm glad to hear that by choosing to trust in Jamie and listen to him, this actually improves your relationship and give yourself a sense of peace too. And I think that you're right. It's applicable anywhere with any relationship. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Yvonne, want to hear your story?
I keep nodding when I was listening to her story, because I'm also a mother, so I can relate to that a lot. And the stories that I'm going to share, I'm sorry, is with kids again, because we're all mothers here, so our lives are inevitably tied to our kids. So please bear with me. So I'll start with two scenarios. I'll give you scenario number one. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I insist that she should go to bed by 10:30 p.m. It makes sense, right? Because sleep is crucial for her health. But it never happened. She would often start her work at 10 p.m. and be up until midnight. And scenario number two, I have a son and he's 9 years old. And when my son, he said, oh, he didn't want to sign up for a Kung Fu class because it conflicted with his online game, I was frustrated. I thought he should prioritize sports over games. And he was also upset because he felt I misunderstood him. So what's the common problem here? my kids don't listen, right? And that was my immediate reaction, of course. And then I noticed a common word, should. It appeared quite a few times in these scenarios. And I realized that I constantly say, you should do this, you should do that, or you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. I believe my way was right. And I focused so much on getting my kids to be the correct, doing the correct thing, according to my standards, of course. And that was stressing our relationships a lot.
Mm.
So before learning the 3A method, I would quickly assume that the kids, they don't know enough. And I may even try to convince them that they were wrong and my ideas were better. So after learning the 3A's, I learned to pause and ask myself, what was really driving my frustration? So with my daughter, my frustration came from fear that she would get sick, fear that she would struggle in school. But when I paused, I saw the reality. She rarely gets sick, and she has excellent grades, and she's never late for school. So my nagging wasn't really helping her. It was only damaging our relationship. With my son, it's the same thing. He did tell me that he wanted to do sports, just not at that specific time. But I was so focused on the game that I didn't really truly listen to him. So this is how I use the 3A's to help myself in those situations. I would find myself in a room with no distraction. I would start the step 0, just like Shebia explained earlier. I placed my hand, on my heart, and I took a few deep breaths. And then when I breathe in, I would imagine breathing in love, compassion, and patience. And when I breathe out, I released my frustration, the need to control. And I would even close my eyes and visualize my problems. And in this case, my kids, they were getting further and further away, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet, just far enough that they became a tiny dot. I think this visualization is very important because it has a symbolic meaning. It means that the conflict could no longer consume me. They could no longer affect me. And then I move on with the first A, acknowledge. And so I keep placing my hands on my heart, and I say it out loud. I acknowledge that I'm feeling frustrated, and it's okay. This frustration is only a part of me. It came and it will go. So I just repeat these statements a couple of times. And just by repeating these statements already calm me down. And then I ask myself another important question, which is, what kind of relationship do I want to create? So for the second A, act to choose, I chose to shift my actions from control to connection. I chose to let go of my urge to control the outcome. I chose to look for ways to communicate my concerns without imposing my ways. I chose to appreciate their honesty because I think it's very precious that they tell me how they feel, that they're being honest with me about their feelings. I really don't want to take this for granted. So I want to appreciate that. And I also appreciate their accountability because my daughter, she always get herself to school on time, even though she sleeps late. And my son, he was actually trying to negotiate with me, for another time to do sports. So he's learning negotiation, which is a great skill. So finally, I practice the last A, appreciate. I appreciate this conflict for reminding me that I could choose to respond with love, not judgment. I appreciate my intention to build a relationship based on open communication, not one-way talks. So that's the power of the 3A method. It doesn't really solve the problem for you, but it will give you the tool to choose your response differently and change the dynamic from within. So voila, that's my story. You can relate that, Josephine?
Oh, thank you, Yvonne. Yeah, I'm totally related, especially when this young age, when you have to really think we are the right person to make the right decisions, and to learning all that 3A tools is a game changer for us to able to see the difference. and then respect them, and all that learning from you, and it's amazing. And then soon you will realize how they will become a confident person, and it is amazing. I think it's time for Shebia to share her story now. I
Yay.
give you now.
Thank you. Thank you, Josephine. Thank you, Yvonne. Well, my story is a tad complicated, and it has been a long time coming too. Well, it's still a work in progress. I am seeing, very many positive signs, and things are looking up. So for the past few years, my family and I have been navigating the challenge of caring for our aging mother. For those who have done that, it has know that it usually brings up a lot of emotions, and it has caused us a lot of tension among ourselves. At first, I felt overwhelmed. I felt stuck and helpless. But through the DP program, I did a lot of inner work for the past couple of years and become determined that I want to change. And this process helped me find my inner strength and build my resilience. And using the 3A method, I learned to give myself space to pause and acknowledge my feelings. And by doing this without judgment, I was also able to understand what others were feeling too. This shift in perspective helped me see that my siblings were actually not trying to hurt me. We all just wanted the best for our mom. So I made some conscious choices, like to respond with respect and empathy. And I reached out and listened to them and communicate with honesty and courage. I even apologize for my own mistakes. So these choices have made quite a big difference. I feel myself more authentic, and also my family is now more understanding and supportive with each other. It's also very heartwarming to see my 2 adult sons taking a more active role in caring for their grandma and connecting with the family.
Well, Shebia, that's a wonderful shift. I think the first time I hear a story, I really feel for you, because it's a lot of responsibility, and the feeling helpless when you deal with the family responsibility is not an easy feeling to go through. And I think from that helplessness, you change to actively making peace in your family. That's a lot of effort. And especially if we're caught in these intense conversations, I think, everyone was getting emotional. It's not easy to get through. So I'm curious, if you could share with us the hardest part of this journey. What was that for you?
Wow. That's a great question, Yvonne. As I said, it's still a work in progress. So just a few days ago, I had a very long conversation with my son. I was actually quite surprised to hear that he was quite upset with me about many things, from his childhood on to what I was or how I was caring for his grandma. Honestly, I felt like a bad mother. Although I kind of stayed calm during the conversation, I was overwhelmed and I completely forgot about the 3As. And fortunately, I had some time to myself that night and was able to practice the method finally. I did breathing exercise, and I reflected on my feelings, and I wrote everything down. And this journaling helps me and give me the space I needed. I remind myself that I always have a choice. While I didn't dismiss the pain that I might have caused on him, I also held on to the truth that I have always done my best as a mother. I also realized that he was under a lot of stress from taking care of his mother, and his grandmother, and was sleep deprived. So before I went to bed, I told myself that this challenge was an opportunity for me and him to grow and learn. And it happened so fast. Things happened very fast. The very next day, after he was more well rested, my son reached out to me and we had another long talk. Mostly we're calm. And we were able to honestly share our perspectives and concerns and also discuss how to move forward. So I am so grateful for the mindful coaching skills that I have learned from DP. Otherwise, I could have been quite devastated. I've now felt like a changed person. I feel that I am more humble and creative and more resilient and more authentic, more of myself. And this very experience also remind me that when I let go of trying to control things and just trust in the process, things have a way of working themselves out. So
It's
that's my
true.
sharing.
It's true. Yes, thanks, Shebia. Your story is so relatable. It's true that we might forgot all these skills that we learn, all the tools we learn when life throws a curveball at us. Like when we're caught in that moment, we may forget everything. But as your story shows, all the work towards ourselves, all the inner work is never wasted. I think you have beautifully bounced back, from feeling so helpless and devastated to now being more creative, more authentic. I think that's a very beautiful shift. And I also trust that things are working out for you because you have changed. So you're bringing a new positive dynamic to your family relationship. So that is great. Now,
Thank
I
you.
guess by now, everyone here can feel that we love this 3A method. But there is a core message that we really want to highlight. It is important to remember that real and lasting change is just shift from the inside out. So it's not about controlling others or the situation. It's more about transforming our own internal response first. And when we change from within, we naturally create a different dynamic externally. So this shift will allow us to build a more authentic self. You will need to look at if you're acting in alignment with your values. Are you reacting because of fear or because you feel obliged? And the shift can also allow us to create win-win situations for ourselves and the other person. So it definitely involves shifting the goal from winning the argument to finding a solution where everyone's needs or the core needs are respected. It can also improve our relationship as a result because we are now responding with calm and love instead of blaming the other person. So we are building deeper trust and understanding with other people. And it will also help us learn how to handle challenges better next time. So each time we use this tool, we are doing one more practice. So with more practice, we're strengthening our ability to pause and choose a thoughtful response. We're making us more resilient. So of course, this is in theory. So what does this shift look like in practice? Josephine, maybe you could give us a better picture.
Yay, let me give it slightly in a practical side. So think about it from a really stressing about with our emotions. We can turn into coming back to ourselves, taking a breath, and then create that space to respond calmly. And on the other way, from being consumed by confusing feelings, we can also move to calming, naming our emotions, and acknowledge them without any judgment. This kind of practical is really important. We can also, from like a victim, needing to defend ourselves, to seeing other positive intentions, sharing the honesty and vulnerability and feelings, leading to authentic and supportive relationship. Also, from the really urgent control of every outcome to trusting that each person is resourceful and the things will work out. Not the last, from complaining the life challenge to appreciate them is the opportunity to grow. I think this is the shift that we like to practice on. Hope
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Josephine. So as we are getting near the end of our session, we invite everyone to join us for a short breathing exercise. This is a chance to ground ourselves and gently absorb the insight we've shared today. And if you're new to practices like this, it's completely normal if your mind, is wanders around, or if your thoughts keep popping up in your head. That's totally okay. You might even find a little weird with the quietness. So whenever you notice your attention drifting, just gently bring it back to the sound of Shebia's voice as she's guiding us in this exercise. So we hope this moment of calm helps anchor today's key lessons within you. So Shebia, you may start. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne and Josephine, for sharing those insights. They beautifully illustrate how 3A method can create real positive change from the inside out. So I encourage you to make this 3A as daily habits. We can start with small things like when you missed a bus or when you burnt your toast. So instead of getting upset we can try using these 3A steps. And when we get more comfortable, we can use it for deeper feelings like guilt or frustrations. An effective way to practice this is a simple breathing exercise. And I invite you to bring perhaps a small incident or emotion to mind and join me in this exercise. And also, I want to bring out that this experience is experiencing the power within you for yourself. So let me try to start the music. Let me see. Okay. Share. And okay. Yeah. Okay, so now let's begin a short and beautiful journey to connect with our inner selves. We have used the 3A tool to gently acknowledge our feelings, act to choose or respond, and appreciate our journey to growth. Please sit up straight and let your body relax. And when you feel comfortable, you can try gently close your eyes and turn your attention inward. And take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, let go of any tension. Feel the breath moving through your nose, your throat, your chest, and your belly. Now return to your natural, effortless rhythm. Try to place one or both hands over your heart. Feel the warmth and the beat of your heart. This simple gesture connects you to your inner wisdom and strength. Take a deep breath as if you are breathing in love and peace. As you exhale, release all the worries. Let's begin with the first A, acknowledge. This step is about acceptance and surrender. Gently bring to mind a recent situation that caused a slight emotional reaction. Instead of getting lost in the details, simply acknowledge the feeling itself. Take a few moments to quietly say to yourself, I acknowledge that I feel hurt, or I acknowledge that I am feeling disappointed. So, your turn. Well done, thank you. Acknowledging our emotions means being aware of them and naming them without judgment. This is a gift of acceptance that you give to yourself, and it allows you to also give it to others. Now, for the second A, act to choose. Remember, you always have a choice in how you respond. No matter the situation, there are many possibilities. By taking responsibility, you can use your inner wisdom to create new options for yourself. And you can say to yourself, I choose to be open to understanding. Or I choose to be kind to myself. Now take a moment to name one or two choices that you feel empowering for you. Thank you. Finally, the third A, appreciate. This helps us bring an attitude of gratitude to this moment. Thank yourself for showing up and being willing to do this work. And also thank the person or the situation that helped us learn and grow. Now feel this sense of peace that you have created within. And we could put our hands around us and give ourselves a gentle hug and say, I love myself. I am worthy of love. And I am blessed. Well done. Thank you, everyone. When you're ready, we can slowly open our eyes and come back to this room.
Thank you so much, Shebia, for this
Thank you.
beautiful breathing exercise. So looking at the time, I see that it brings us to the end of a session today. And we hope this has inspired you to prioritize for yourself. I hope this has inspired you to explore more self-coaching strategies for yourself. And as this is the first time for us to offer this introductory session in English, we would really love to get your feedback. So we really hope that you could take a minute to fill out a feedback form, a Google form for us. It would be really, really appreciated. And if you'd like to stay informed about future events, there is a place at the end of the form where you can leave your email address. We do have DP volunteers